I want to talk about how crazy these people are, okay? Look at this video here, okay? I'm talking about Professor Dave Explains, right? Professor Dave says that you get the same physics results, right? Or in every inertial frame, which he's including Earth and outer space. He's saying that on Earth and in outer space, you have the same physics laws, okay? As long as you're going at a constant velocity, right? But they're going at a constant velocity in outer space. Here's an example right here. When they orbit, they're going constant velocity straight line. This is outer space. You cannot do that on Earth. That's basically all I'm saying, okay, in this video. Let's hear what they say. Let's see what the responses are. Okay, let's just see. Okay, so let's scroll down. Here. 646. You can definitely put yourself into a somersault spin on Earth. Okay, 646. Let's go back up here. See what 646 says, okay? Because we're at 659. Let's see. 646. Wow. He says that we can do this on Earth. Can you believe this? These people. And this guy talks to me all the time. He's being serious. Let's listen to what Professor Dave says that I'm talking about to prove that he says that you have the same physics results in outer space as you do on Earth. That's what he's saying.
States that the laws of physics are the same in every inertial reference frame. Whether you are standing still on Earth or traveling with constant velocity in a car, or plane, or spaceship, or spaceship, or spaceship, or spaceship, the same laws of physics always apply.
And I get flack for saying this is bull. This guy has like 14 million subscribers or something. I don't know what he has, but he has a lot. 14 million people clapping saying, you're right, Dave. Hey, when you're in outer space, you get the same results as you do on you can do that in outer space. You think I'm lying that they're saying, look at this. This is another guy. Who is this? Christian T 5349. Guess what? Look right here. Guess what? The physics are exactly the same on Earth. He's talking about, in outer space. It's the same exact. The exact amount of forces on these people are different than what they experience on Earth. So he's saying the physics is exactly the same because the forces are different. If they're different, then you have different physics results, you moron. And he says, meaning they experience the same exact form of physics. but the exact forces on them is different. Yeah, different forces make different physics, you idiot. Like, what the? He's literally saying that the physics on Earth are exactly the same as outer space. These people are insane. Furthest I go is like Pythagoras' theorem on right triangles. That's as far as I go. That's as hard as it gets, okay? Everything is in layman's terms, okay? These people have confused everything. You know that instead of saying an orange has value, in physics they say an orange has non-zero value, non-zero acceleration. You know, if you speed up and you change your velocity, you get non-zero acceleration. What the hell does that mean? It means that you get acceleration. They're adding non-zero into words that so it has to say it's a double negative, basically. They have made all the words into double negatives. Non-zero velocity, non-zero value, non-zero acceleration, non-zero velocity, non-zero this, non-Euclidean, non-inertial, non-accelerating. These are double negatives. How can? And then I tell them, hey, look, these are double negatives. Why would you call an orange? Why would you say an orange has non-zero value? It has a value, not non-zero value. They get mad at me. If I use regular, normal, non-woke language, they hate me. And string theory is see, they take analogies, right? And then an analogy is a lie by definition, right? Because if it wasn't a lie, it wouldn't be an analogy. It would be an example. See, examples are exact. Analogies are similar. Okay, so some of them isn't right. They take these analogies, and the part that isn't right, that everyone knows isn't right, they pretend that it's right. The whole analogy it's not an analogy. It's just an example. Okay. Like a 2D Okay, a 2D thing, a 2D universe, a 2D what is an image. It's a surface. Okay? A surface is an adjective like red. You can't pick it up and carry it around with you, okay? A surface isn't something that's tangible. It's an adjective describing something on something. Like if you have a cube, the surface is describing the surface, the outer part that you can touch. You can't pick it up, just like you can't pick up red, okay? It's an adjective, okay? And a two-dimensional object isn't, like when you see a picture, now you see this picture of this spaceship, okay? The picture, okay, people, they're saying that the magic marker itself is a two-dimensional object, okay? But if I shrunk you down on this whiteboard so that you were, really, really small, you would see the blue and the red. They would be mountains. They would be 3D mountains because they're 3D, okay? A 2D world would be the image itself, okay? The surface or the image. You do realize image and imaginary are the same thing. The image does not exist. So you can stack a shadow is an example of a two-dimensional object. I don't care if you have 100 shadows. If you 100 people making a shadow and you all converge your shadows on top of each other, the shadow never gets thicker. You know why? Because it's two-dimensional. You know why? Because it's an image. It doesn't exist. It's imaginary. Then they use this lie, saying, oh, if you had a two-dimensional imaginary world, it would have these physics. But the truth is, it wouldn't have any physics. It could have any physics you want, really, because it's imaginary. It's not true. Then they went up to Einstein never said there was 4 dimensions, okay? He said there were 3 dimensions of space-time, okay? Not 4 dimensions, all right? See, what they do is they take a mathematical construct, okay? Because that's what an image is. It's a mathematical construct, okay? It does exist, but only in your mind. It doesn't really exist in reality. An image is, you can't pick an image up and take it around somewhere, okay? It doesn't really exist, all right? So they say, they took Einstein's thing and they twisted it so that he's saying that time is an actual dimension, okay? Yes, Einstein said time is the 4th dimension. I say it all the time in my videos. Now I have to redo all my videos because I didn't understand that people were morons and they didn't understand a mathematical construct isn't always real. Sometimes it's just a representation, you idiots. Jesus Christ. These people are so woke. They'll take a mathematical construct. That's what string theory is based on. Then they said, oh, well, since the 4th dimension, if we have 4 dimensions because of Einstein, maybe there's 100 billion, dimensions that are higher dimensions. And then they start doing math. And they're not even... I'll get into that if you watch my videos. But I'm going to go into, and I'm going to show you what time dilation is, okay? What is the 4th dimension that they keep talking about? And I'm going to prove to you in less than 3 minutes, okay? Yes, the first minute you're not going to like because I'm going to talk about a photon clock. But then after that, I'm just going to talk like a normal human layman person, okay? And you're going to see that a 3-year-old can understand that time dilation has nothing to do with an actual 4th dimension, okay? That's insane, okay? It's a mathematical construct. It isn't real, like a shadow. I can describe the shadow and all kinds of math. It doesn't make the shadow real. A shadow is just lack of light in a certain area. It's just an image. An image. Images are imaginary. Yeah, they're imaginary. You can't base physics on it, although they do. Alright, I want you to imagine a photon clock right here, right? Photon goes up, bam, 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 back and forth, bounces. If you're standing still, it'll just be a straight line right there, like that, right? Every time it hits a plate, top or bottom, it's 1 second, right? What happens if you move the plate? You move it from here to here, right? Now, when it bounces down, now you started moving. Bouncing down, 1 second was from this plate to that plate. But now you moved. And 1 second is from this plate to this plate. So you can see it's a longer travel. The light has to travel longer, right? And if you do it like this and you make a little right triangle there, you can say the more he went into the spatial dimension, the more he got time dilated, right? And this is why they say there's a fourth dimension. Mathematically, it's a mathematical construct. It doesn't exist, okay? It exists, but only in your mind. Only on paper, not in real life, okay? What's really happening? Look, this would be, let's say this was a hand, right, of a clock. A mechanical clock, not a photon clock, right? And you can see, okay, the thing is, force carriers, right, information carriers, they're photons, right? Photons, when this hand wants to move, right, it's up like this, and once time goes, it's going to go this way, it's going to keep rotating, right? It doesn't just move, this doesn't just move instantaneous like magic, okay? This atom, pretend these are atoms. This atom gets it's attached to whatever that moves it, right? So it knows to move, and then it sends a force carrier, right, which is a photon, to the next atom to tell them, right? So this is what would happen. You start moving, though, right? Because this one would move, and then it would send a photon to this one, and then that atom would move, and so on and so on. But what happens when you move? When you move, look, now the distance is a lot longer. It takes a lot longer to tell this one to move, and this one to move, and then this one to move, and then this one to move. Because information carriers take time to move through stuff, right? Here's your brain synapses, right? You're standing still. Again, information carriers, photons are given between these two synapses in your brain. And if you're standing still, you only have that little distance for the light to travel. But what if you move? Now the distance is longer. See, time isn't a thing that you pick up. It's not a dimension that you can see, okay? It's a result. It's a result of the fact that light moves at 186,000 miles per second no matter what. And the way it does it is just because that's what time is based on. Time is based on this, okay? If it takes you twice as long for your electronics to work, twice as long for your heartbeat to work, twice as long for your thoughts to work, then yeah, time will be cut in half. It'll be slower, but you won't know it because everything in your frame is also slowed down, right? You can say, what's that? Why do you have time dilation and stuff on Earth? Because gravity pulls the space-time down, makes these geodesics. The red line is the inertial path. So if the Earth wanted to not be time dilated, it would follow the north would follow this geodesic, the south pole would follow that geodesic, but that doesn't happen because they would be crushed. So when you're on planet Earth, space-time is accelerating through you. Is moving through you at 9.8 meters per second. So sure, you're not moving, but if space-time is, and the light photon follows this inertial path, and you are moving, that's where the time, same thing down here with the rotating thing, right? This thing is rotating around, and you can see, if you drop the ball from this height, right, it would fall straight down. The man would think it fell straight down because the ball has, it wants to go this way off on a tangent, right? Because it's being spun around, right? So if you just drop it, it will follow that tangent, right? That's why this line is parallel to that, right? But again, look, you're making a right triangle. This is Pythagorean theorem. The light would have went that far, but now it's going twice as far, so things are going to slow down for you, right? Same way up here. Same way up here, okay? Where's your right triangle? It's right here. Here's your right triangle. There it is. Boom. Okay? Basically, rotating this and this, they're the same exact thing, but opposite. You know what I mean? So now when you're on Earth, right, instead of your photon carriers in between your synapses just being normal like this, no, now they're elongated out because you have to travel this instead of this. That's how there's no fourth dimension. It's a mathematical construct. It doesn't exist except in your mind or on paper, but they're saying it does. And that's how they base string theory on an imaginary two-dimensional universe. They actually do papers. They have money spent finding these 2D universes. And keep in mind, a 2D universe is a surface, which is imaginary. It's a shadow. It doesn't exist. It's an image. Okay? And where do you get the word